Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. I'm wearing the hat which serves a dual purpose. One is that I'm having a happy fun day, hair day. The other, August 21st, 2017. It was the warning to America. And nobody listened. And now we have a war criminal president, as we are the evil empire in America. Trump has not retaliated, counter-retaliated for what Iraq did. If he does retaliate, we will be in a full-blown war, as Iran will take out all of our bases in Iraq. The sad part is that Putin, who is a war criminal himself, using chemical weapons against his enemies, perceived enemies, is the one who is going to mediate between Putin or Iran and Trump. Putin already met with the European leaders, as they've now withdrawn their troops. And we'll see if he can have Trump back down, because Iran is a Putin ally, whereas Trump is just a puppet. So we'll see if Putin wants Trump controlled and to stop and to just withdraw from Iraq, or if he'll allow Trump to continue to escalate, which will cause war on American soil, which is exactly what Putin wants, especially if he can get other nations to do it for him. So we should find out today what the results are going to be. But as you know, this is a Mormon critic video, an LDS critic video. And the reason is because when war comes to American soil, they're going to want to take out American cultural icons, not just the Statue of Liberty, not just tall buildings of artistic and architectural beauty and accomplishment, but also religious. And so Temple Square in Utah would be a prime target. There was either an ISIS or Al-Qaeda, I can't remember how far back it was, and it's technically ICE, not ISIS. Don't mix it with the Egyptian goddess. That had a bullseye on the picture of the San Diego temple. I don't think they did it on the Salt Lake temple, but I found one on the Salt Lake temple as well. So yes, the church will be a target, despite their efforts to make friends with Islamic nations this year, or last year. It's a new year now. And so it's no coincidence that all of Temple Square is now closed. That by planning it over a year ago, they knew exactly what they were doing, because they'd received information That's what they were going to be doing. And you may ask why? How, Travis? Who did they talk to? Well, guys, remember Nelson when he first took over? And a temple in an undisclosed location, soon to be announced in Russia. Can't remember the exact wording he used. Major city in Russia. And what happened to it? Well, Mormons have been banished from Russia. John Huntsman Jr., the U.S. ambassador to Russia, has been fired. And now he's wanting to run for governor of Utah. When the previous governor got busted by the Washington Post over the Bears Ears uranium mining scandal, as he was going to sell it to a uranium mining company. And like he said, this isn't for oil, gas, or... yeah, it's for uranium. He deceived everyone. But they got caught, and so he canceled the sale. And so all those videos of people searching for the mining company, you're not going to find them because this deal was canceled. That's why Putin is wanting to put in his own governor in Utah, one who will give him the uranium. But Putin also would have informed the church that with the $32 billion bribe that he asked the church to launder the money, he would have also informed them that I will give you your kingdom if you help me with some favors. And so that's how the church would have known of the imminent attack on America, and purposely withheld it in violation of Amos chapter 3 verse 7, thinking that we will protect our own if we just do what Putin asks. And so that's why Temple Square is closed. It's so that the temple will be preserved as best as possible from an American land-based attack. As there won't be people there at Temple Square, so there won't be cause to attack it, other than to destroy the architecture, and thus fulfill Brigham Young's prophecy that the Salt Lake Temple will endure through the millennium. Because the church has no intention of going back to Missouri. They aren't Joseph Smith's church. They're Brigham Young's church. And they set up shop for the building of New Jerusalem and the kingdom and Zion right here in Utah. Because they're not God's church. Ooh. I've already done the videos, guys. They murdered Joseph Smith and then fled America to come to Mexico territory to beat up on the Mexicans and establish their kingdom. And then the United States came and then dethroned Brigham Young. But Utah wants their kingdom back. They're pissed over the Edmunds-Tucker Act and have organized themselves into a criminal organization, which is why I'm suing. And 2 days now, as the judge would have come back from vacation, and still nothing. And so, like I mentioned in the other video, I will have to file for her recusal and see what happens from there, because we can't allow the Mormon church to survive. If they survive Armageddon, they will be establishing a corrupt system for the millennium, and we cannot allow that. I don't know if I'll do this other video. ABC4 News Utah reported last night that the church had been giving assistance from fast offerings, because tithing doesn't go for assistance, except for the money that was put into the investment corporation, Ensign Peak Investments, which had their own articles of incorporation saying they would give to assistance. But the fast offerings were given in the amount of $18,000 last year to a man who was divorcing his wife, who was making $300,000 for that year. And the wife found out about the $18,000 in charity given to her soon-to-be ex, and tried going through the proper channels, because the church is true, right? Why would the church betray her? And so there must be some misunderstanding, and her husband needs to be exposed for the corruptions that he's committing against the church, right? Turns out the church has been protecting the man, knowingly and purposely giving him the assistance to cover in the divorce, and that all of her attempts to contact somebody in the church were giving her the runaround so that she would give up and allow her husband to get away with what he's getting away with, and thus the church getting away with helping him. This is how corrupt the church is, Mormons. This was a faithful woman who believes the church is true and got burned big time. And a double whammy burn as her husband's leaving her. And so that's how bad the church is. It's not just the 100 billion scandal in tithing. It's not the multitude of rapes, child rapes, and the child kidnapping, and the child forced slave labor, and the abuse of government benefits, the insurance fraud, and list just goes on and on. Mormons, what does it take for you to realize the church is wrong? I mean, how much crime is necessary? I mean, it took 3 deaths at the new shelter for the city to say, I guess we need to put in some traffic signals. Everybody who builds knows you have to factor in traffic conditions. Everybody. But when dealing with the homeless, Utah doesn't give a damn. They wait until there's a problem that people complain about, and then to solve the people's complaints, they create more problems, which then creates more complaints in the future. That's the cycle of abuse here in Utah, caused by the example of the Mormon Church. This is why Mormons outside of Utah are not the same as Utah Mormons. But it's sad that I'm hearing about outside Mormons becoming as Utah Mormons. That's disturbing. But that was expected, I guess, with Utah Mormons being the majority of the missionaries. And so that it's the converts outside of Utah that are carrying on the Utah ways. I remember battling them not just at Rick's, but not as much at Rick's, because my dorm floor seemed to have been segregated for those of us outside of Utah. We had an awesome volleyball team. We all found out that all of us liked volleyball, and so we formed an intramural team. We tried the club team for the school, which was the only way to challenge other schools, but the others in the group were holding us back. So we formed our own intramural team. We were practicing on the courts at the girls' dorms. Obviously, where else would we do it? Far away from the girls? No. And so we were able to pick up a few talented girls as well for our team. When Rick's held their intramural volleyball challenge, we just swept. It wasn't even a contest. We challenged the club team, blew them away. Challenged the second best team after us, which was the Polynesian team. They were easy to beat, but the toughest that we had to challenge. The good old days, as I was learning to do that jump serve that one American volleyball player did in the Olympics to win the gold. Oh well, glory days, as an old man looks back on his life. But in the mission field, unbelievable. Not just from the young missionaries who were being educated in the Utah ways that I had to constantly battle with, as they tried to force me to commit to getting a number of baptisms for the month and for the week. And I was like, dude, it's not up to me. I want you to commit, though. I'm not committing to anything that's not in my control. God. You know, what are you going to do when it doesn't happen? Going to punish me? So, unbelievable, the abuse of Utah Mormons. And that old couple, can't remember their names, but he was preaching all sorts of false doctrine in the Bronx. It's unbelievable. And here I am, shutting him down, and I wasn't even a Mormon scholar yet. And I was still out debating him in Mormonism. There's just some things that are just duh. But, oh well. So, this went longer than I expected. But that's where we're at. The Mormons want their kingdom of God, and have made an arrangement with Putin to obtain that once again with the destruction of America. So I'm expecting Putin to back off and let the two boys duke it out, which will lead to Islamists all over the world to converge on America, and those in America to rise up. It's just going to be bad news for everybody. But we'll see. Trump needed a distraction from the impeachment, didn't he? Just like Ainsley Earhart back in the day, talking to Geraldo Rivera, and then saying, why doesn't Trump, in order to distract from Comey's new book that's coming out on Tuesday of next week, why doesn't he just bomb Syria? Really, Ainsley? And Fox didn't punish you for that. Nobody else held you accountable. But that's the pattern of Trump now, thanks to Ainsley Earhart. beautiful woman until she speaks. And she's the ugliest of evil. So, alright. Enjoy your life, whatever's left of it.